Hello and welcome back to Fergie's Gun podcast. My name is Nathan, and we are back for a packed show. We've been away for a little while, but we are back in the podcast studios plural, in different houses right now. But it's I think a lot has happened since the last time we was on the air, and as always, I am here with my good friend Ahmad. He's back.
Yes, let's hope we're more consistent this time.
Yes, it's just been crazy, just mad busy. Like working on the radio, and you've got other big life events happening.
Yeah,
It hasn't been the right time to kind of sort it out. But we're back now. Podcast is ready to go. I've got some tales from the radio station as well that I can talk about. Nothing major, but Manchester United related, obviously. Um, so should we just jump straight into? Have we actually talked about the stadium live on air?
N- no,
We
not
haven't.
yet.
We haven't, have we? So let's start at the stadium because I think that's still the biggest thing that's hanging over from the last few weeks. What do you think of it?
Uh, I don't know. I think it's growing on me.
Oh,
At first,
really?
yeah, when I first saw it, I think it was, yeah, everyone agreed. It looked weird, like it looked like a circus or I don't know, like a tent or something. But yeah, the more pictures I see, the more videos I see, and imagining how it's gonna actually be. Yeah, I think when it actually comes, I think people are gonna like it. That's my opinion. But
I mean,
yeah, let's see.
I don't want to start off with like a moan. I just think like whatever happens, it will be amazing. That's what I think. I think because we're just seeing images of this stadium right now, and it's not Old Trafford. I think the knee-jerk reaction with anything to do with redevelopment or moving to a new stadium is always going to get a negative reaction. That's what I think. That's where I am with it. However, I think if they'd have just incorporated some sort of like traditional like red brick style, which is I worked in Salford Keys for many years, and I know it's been redeveloped, and I know there's a regeneration project going on there, which was spearheaded by the BBC. But I think if they just tried to keep some of that industrial architecture within the final design, I think it'll be fine. But right now, we're looking at this futuristic, almost like one of the stadiums from like Qatar. And I think the guy that the architect that made this did work on some of the ones, the temporary stadiums in Qatar. So it doesn't really feel like Manchester to me, but it's for future generations. It's not for me. I'm sure I'll get over there to see it. It'll be made in 5 years. Hopefully, I won't be dead by then. But it's definitely the cosmetics of it are for future generations and for the future of Manchester United. So I think I can get on board with it.
Yeah, I think they try to be different. So most of the new stadiums that are being built right now, like if you look at I don't know, Santiago Bernabeu, Camp Nou, all other stadiums that are being redeveloped, they're all turning out like this as this bowl-shaped stadium.
Yeah,
Like Allianz Arena as well. So I think they try to move away from that, and honestly, there's not much you can do because yeah, I think and the idea of those three I don't know towers that symbolize the devil's what is it called, the devil's trident. So
Trident.
is that
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I think they tried to be creative, and also I'm sure that's the best they could have came up with. And I think it's gonna look good. Like if you imagine Champions League nights at that stadium, 100,000 seater, I think it's gonna be good, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's like you. It's kind of growing on me. There's still something missing from it, and I do think that they've missed the element of that industrial Manchester. Red brick. That's north of Birmingham. That's what all the houses look like, or north of London even. And that's what all the houses look like. And it just needed to kind of incorporate something like that. They still haven't mentioned like all the unique little cellars around there. I'm sure even you, Ahmad, you'll know of Lumacari's Chippy, which is a chip shop just on the road
I know.
down to the stadium. Like they haven't actually said how they're going to incorporate those things, because the worst thing that could happen is they make this huge stadium and then the people inside it, it's like one of the malls in Dubai. There's a Starbucks, there's a Pizza Hut. It's all very, commercialized within that. I do hope they do give space to the sellers that have been there for years and years. That's another big thing for me. But let's see how it turns out. Let's see. I mean, it's going to be 5 to 10 years. I can't see it being 5 years, even though they're being speculative about how quick they can knock it up. But let's see. Let's see how it works out.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really mind if it takes more than 5 years because that means we're gonna get to spend more time at Old Trafford. And honestly, like I think 90% of us not accepting the stadium is because we're moving away from Old Trafford.
Mm,
It doesn't matter how good the stadium would have been. It wouldn't have made a difference. Just like because we're moving away from Old Trafford, which is honestly sad. Like I still wish they would have found a way to redevelop Old Trafford to like just to expand it. But I know it's not easy because of the railways that you were telling me about.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, like if it takes more than 5 years, then probably, hopefully, we witness another league winning season at Old Trafford, which I think all of us want, to be honest.
of course, yeah. It is all about the stuff that's happening on the pitch. How would you feel about the name Ineos Grenadiers Arena?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, like
It could be.
I'm dreading what they're gonna name it.
I mean that I think naming rights will be a big thing. I think they will still keep the Trafford something, but I've got a feeling that they're going to sell the naming rights on it because let's be honest, Ratcliffe just wants to earn a bit more cash any way that he can to turn it into a profitable business. With Ratcliffe in mind, we're also and what's happened since we were last on air. So we've had the stadium announcement. We've also had more job cuts. We've also had two interviews with Jim Ratcliffe. Have we spoke about those? I can't remember. Did we talk about it on the last podcast?
No.
I don't think we did. But what I will say is that he did those two interviews, and there's still things in it that I'm not 100% about, like as in 100% trusting of him and the direction of what Ineos are trying to do. Now that the dust has kind of settled, I think we're 4 weeks on from when those interviews were conducted with Sky Sports, well, with Gary Neville, and with BBC's Dan Rowan. How are you feeling about that? Because there was a lot of information in there. How do you unpack all of that?
Yeah, I think we spoke about it on chat, me and you. Yeah, you didn't really like how he he came off again. But like for me, I just appreciate like maybe we've been starved of any kind of communication from the owners. So any kind of communication that comes from the owners, to me, that's like it's important. So some of the things that he was saying, yeah, they did sound like kind of fishy. But personally, most of the things I was on board with. I just think he is trying. Like I don't think he's in it just for the I don't know for the like money or just for the sake of having Manchester United as a club as his own. I do think he's actually trying to improve. He's trying to get us back where we should be. Um, and yeah, like I can't remember a lot of the interview because, like you said, it was a few weeks back. But uh, yeah, what I remember is that yeah, I actually I liked most of what he was saying.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm obviously the contrast to this because I don't trust him. I never trust a billionaire anyway. But I think he is in it to create a legacy for himself, and that extends out to the stadium as well. When he passes on, he's going to have what did Sir Jim Ratcliffe do? Well, he made the new Manchester United stadium. I think that's his big kind of legacy that he wants to keep. And anyone that has that amount of money has a self interest, let's say. So yes, he does want to see Manchester United winning again. But at the end of the day, he's not doing this just so people forget about who he was and what he did. He's in this to do it his way, to do it with his name attached to everything and his company's name attached to everything. So I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical about some of the stuff that he said, and also you can tell, obviously, as a former journalist or still a journalist, you can tell which order the interviews came in. So the Sky Sports one with Gary Neville came first, and then when the Dan Rowan came into the room to do the interview afterwards, some of his answers were very polished. So he'd sat with his team, and clearly they'd gone, right, okay, we need to make sure that we talk about this and talk about this and hammer home this point, because during the Gary Neville one, he didn't really reference the fact that he was sorry for all of the mess that he'd caused with extending Ten Hag, signing or chasing Dan Ashworth, and then firing him shortly after. And all these mistakes that they made, huge financial mistakes that they made. He didn't really mention that in the first interview. And then in the second one with Dan Rowan, he actually said, I apologise for that. Now, that could be coming from a genuine place, or it could be coming from pure PR spin. But I feel like he knows what he's doing when he talks about these things, about putting United back in front again and putting them back at the top of the perch and all of this lot. He knows what buttons to press on Manchester United fans. But there's something for me that just I can see through. There's a facade there. I can't quite put my finger on it, whether it is just simply because of the self-interest in all of it. But I don't trust him. And even when he said about sorry, I know I'm rattling on, but even when he said about Gary Neville kind of challenged him and said, well, why don't you just have Harry Maguire and someone else, I think it was Bruno Fernandes, do like an evening and then you can pay that 40,000. And he said, I didn't really think of that. Mate, come on. You're a man that knows money, and you're a man that knows how to make the most of businesses. Like, if you haven't thought of that, that's worrying. That's worrying in terms of the community and family feel of a club the size of Manchester United, if you haven't thought about
Yeah, I think he's not as involved as we think in all the decisions. I think some of the decisions that are coming out, they're not like his. He just delegates. I think he put in his people, Sir Dave Brailsford, I think some financial people, and they're the ones who look at things and they say, okay, we need to cut this, we need to do that, we need to do this. They're not going to go back to him with every single decision and ask him, okay, so what do you think? And he's not going to come up with like solutions.
that.
So that's what he
Saying
said.
that though, I agree. But saying that though, would you not be then worried that the people that are on the inside at Old Trafford and at Carrington have looked around, been installed in this position, looked around, been there for is it over a year now? I think they've been there.
Over here.
And still failed to recognise those types of impacts and the knock-on effect it would have. Does that not kind of set the alarm bells ringing a little bit? If Omar Barada goes, yeah, just cut that charity payment and we won't have any effect on us.
Yeah, I agree. It is. It's not ideal, to be honest, and like they've done more damage than good for themselves, because it's very important how people perceive them, especially the first year, and especially at a club like Manchester United, which has always been considered as a family club, family first, then like whatever else comes, and like all the success comes from that. And that's what Sir Alex and everyone at the club have been building all those years. So yeah, I think they should have taken that into consideration. He tried to deviate, and like when he said that we would have run out of money as a club by the end of this year if they didn't start taking these decisions. I don't know how true that is. That I doubt, to be honest. I don't think so. But regardless, I think it was obvious that radical changes were needed to be made.
Yeah.
Even if like, and he mentioned that, like, I think Gary Neville also asked him, and like he's like, okay, but the small decisions like I don't know, the meals for the employees and these things,
Yeah.
or the journalists that come. He's like, he can. Then Sir Jim said, like, we can't like draw a line on certain things, and then you'd be like, it wouldn't be possible. Then you'd have to, okay, like, be lenient with this and be lenient with that. So you have to be tough with
Yeah.
everything. So I think maybe that's part of their thinking. Honestly, like I always say, we're never gonna know if that was the right or wrong decision. Maybe like unless we wait for 2 or 3 years, then we're gonna actually know because nothing's gonna show now.
I think you're right in saying that it will all come out in the wash, so to speak, and we will find out further down the line. I do think saving 1 million a year by taking away staff food is just miserable, and I do think that they made a huge financial mistake with Ten Hag, with hiring Rene Hack and Van Nistelrooy, hiring Amorim. You know, all of these things that they did during that period of time. And I think we'll talk about this a little bit later, but it still feels like they're getting their pants pulled down by Chelsea as well, in terms of the loans that they've had and in terms of players that have already signed for Chelsea. We'll talk about transfers later, but it does seem like they're slightly naive with their approach to things, and maybe the austerity that they're putting on the club now, maybe it is because they were so scared of how wrong they got it in the beginning, how wrong it was to wait for Dan Ashworth and then fire him when they didn't get on. So yeah, you're right. We need to wait a little bit longer to see how these things pan out. Incidentally, we had Paul Ashworth, which is Dan Ashworth's brother, on the show on Monday night. He didn't actually talk about Dan, apart from the fact that they grew up and went on their own like separate paths in football. I think the last job that Paul had. Well, he worked with Dan at Brighton during that incredible season when they brought in like Matoma, Estupinan, Van der Heck. Is it Van der Heck? Yeah, the centre
Van
back.
Hag. Yeah, Van
Yeah,
Hag.
he was the world scout at that point, and I think his last job was at like Spartak Moscow or something. So he's got a lot of insights, and we're probably going to speak to him again a bit more often on the radio show. But it'd be interesting to kind of get his insight into that eventually when they talk, because I think Dan Ashworth's about to take up another job with the FA at the moment. So let's see how that pans out. The other person that I was talking about, or that was on the show a few weeks back, he wasn't on the show, but we did like a Q&A with him that was Chris McCarty, the host of The Score on Dubai Eye. He did a Q&A with Wayne Rooney. And you just reminded me then when you was talking about this is what Ferguson built, you know, or the family community and the family feel of everything at the club. And Rooney actually said during that Q&A that when he takes his kids to training, he just goes and sleeps in his car because he doesn't know anyone there. No, he doesn't know a single person there. Everyone that he was there during that time has all gone, all been moved on. So who knows whether that's for good or bad, but Wayne Rooney's having a nap regardless. But I wanted to also ask you as well, like as an overall thing then with Ineos, and I know you kind of touched on it a second ago. Do you think that they're now on the right path to getting the club sorted? Do you think they're on the right path, or do you still see like a few things that they could maybe do a bit better?
Honestly, I felt they're on the right path ever since they came in, and because of how big the job is, how big of a mess we have been and we still are. Um, like it was obvious from the start that they were trying to do things the right way. That's what I think. Honestly, I know like people would disagree, but I actually think they were trying to do things the right way, and they had football as their primary interest. It wasn't financial. It wasn't anything. Um, so yeah, and like as time goes, I think they are showing that they're always trying to improve. They're always trying to find things that would like improve us on the pitch, not only off of it. And even like with the training center that they've developed, the stadium as well. Like these are important things. And um, I don't know, the I can't judge, but the thing I can judge on is, for example, the recruitment in the summer. That's the fastest way I can judge them on because I can see results already. And like based on that, I think they've done well. Honestly, personally, I think they've done well. Like it's it's way different than previous years. The players we used to get, and it was just so random. Not it didn't feel like there was a plan. But now with the players that we've brought in, even the youngsters, you can see that they're trying to build for the future, not only for the future but also the present. But they're doing it. Personally, I think it's the right way. So yeah, to answer your question, I think they're doing well.
Well, we kind of segued into it without even talking about it, but I thought we'd delve into the summer transfers, mate, because the squad is kind of taking shape. We're on a fairly decent-ish run of results, starting to see the green shoots of progress with the team that's going out on the pitch. Amram seems to have hammered home his point and trying to get the players to play exactly how we need them to. We're obviously through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, which is it's going to be a huge competition for us this year, simply because it's our only pathway through to the Champions League, or barring a complete collapse of the other 13 teams that are above us in the Premier League right now. But the first thing that I wanted to kind of touch on was the outs, because as a team is playing better, which I believe. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but they've been playing okay and they've been doing well since the Sociedad game, I would say. Have any of those players that you were ready to throw under the bus before those games and before this run, have any of those worked themselves back into your plans, or do you think the players that we talked about previously still need to leave the club at the end of the season?
No, none of them. Like every single player that we said has to leave still has to leave. I'm not gonna change my mind about anything. Maybe I don't know if you want to go like player by player or like just some names,
We
but like yeah, most of
we
them most
can
of
we
them
can
have to
do
leave.
we can go from just the players that we know are probably on their way out regardless next season. I was just curious to know if there was any players that are like, oh, he's playing all right now, like
No
because
way.
you get these little purple patches of like, and this isn't saying that he's become a world beater again all of a sudden, but Casemiro's playing okay. Ericsson is playing okay. Maguire's been doing all right, although he has been injured recently. Um, you know, Anthony is doing all right away at Real Betis. Rashford is doing well at Aston Villa and earned a place back into the England side. Like, are you still those four specifically then? And obviously, you want to get rid of Lindelof anyway. But those four players, have you've got the same opinion? Gone.
Yeah, yeah. So like the players out on loan, I'm glad they're doing well, and I hope they keep on doing well because that's gonna give us a better chance to get rid of them. Anthony and Rashford, they have to go. It's I don't. There's no way back for them, in my opinion. And I think in Ruben Amram's opinion, I think that for him as well, like he's not gonna give them a chance. And in regards to the players that we have, Casemiro, yeah, he's been doing better, which I'm happy about. But I think uh, because of his high wages, mainly for me, he gets paid way too much, and he like his age. I think he's 33 now or something. So yeah, I think it's time to move him on, unless he signs a deal with like half the wages, because it's important to have players with experience around. Yeah, they're not gonna start every game, but players like Casemiro, yeah, you can play them like every once in a while. But on the wages that he's on, I don't think it makes sense. Ericsson has to leave. Lindelof has to leave. Hoyland has to leave. Onana has to leave. Honestly, Maguire. I never thought that he has to leave. Maguire is one of the players that I would keep at the club.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, like I can name like 10 players that should be leaving by the summer, if not
So
more.
basically, in your mind, then there's been no reprieve from any of these players, and that's fine. Like I get it. Like I'm the same. I don't think that any of them are going to get any better. Put it that way. Just because you've had a decent run of games and you found a bit of form, like you still need to move them on. But there is that. I assume at any club, when the players start to hit form again, you kind of think at the club, the people that are making the decisions, maybe he's all right. Maybe if we just do this or do that or play him sparingly or get him on a contract that, as you say, is on reduced rates or whatever, maybe we can keep him on. But there's no room for sentiment. And if there's one thing that Ineos have showed us with the hiring and firing of people recently or in the past 12 months, it's that they don't do sentimental signings. So I think, yeah, you're right. Casemiro, Ericsson, Lindelof, Maguire, I still think needs to go because you get a decent amount of money for him. I don't think it's worth just having him on the bench just to come off every now and again. I think Bayern Deer's going to leave. He wants to play for Turkey at the 2026 World Cup. So we'll probably be looking for a goalkeeper. Anthony definitely got to go. Yeah, it's fine. I think he started off pretty well for Manchester United when he first joined and then faded badly. I think if we can get any money for him out of Betis, brilliant. And like you say, Rashford needs to change his scenery, and he's doing well, and he's put himself into that into a bracket where maybe it might not just be Aston Villa that are bidding for him at the end of the season. It could be someone else that's bidding for him to try and take him to the continent, because I think that's ultimately where he wants to go. He wants to go and try his hand somewhere else. But if Aston Villa, make it into the Champions League again, which it looks like they're going to, maybe he will stay. Maybe he will. But
What about
anyone
Højlund?
else on there? Højlund?
Yeah, Højlund. What do you think? Because a lot of people now they're backtracking. They're like, okay, maybe he can turn into a better striker. He's always had the potential, and maybe he's showing it a bit now, like the past few games. So, what did you change your mind?
I didn't change my mind. I don't think he should leave. Okay, so I'll say that. I don't think he should leave. What I do think is that his performance is, you can see he's trying. Maybe overcooking it in a lot of the games before he scored and before he provided that assist for Dalot in the Real Sociedad game. He's been trying, and it looks like whatever message Amorim has been giving him, he's kind of getting it. He's kind of getting it. I'm not saying he's completely changed, but I think if we're going to go for someone like Liam Delap, which seems likely, if Ipswich are going down, we'll probably get in for a cut price. If we're going to get someone like Liam Delap, we have to bring in Liam Delap and get rid of Højlund. I don't think those two, you can go into a season with those two as your starting strikers. I think you need one young person and someone that's been there and done it. So an Osimhen at the side of Højlund, I'll take it and I'll keep him.
Fair enough. But if honestly, if the reports that are coming out, like if we get like an offer for 50 million for Højlund, you take it and run, not look back, just take it. Because
I think you're right. I think you are right. I think if something comes in that's around the £50 million mark, and I think there's already been interest in him. There was a report the other day saying that clubs have started to bid for him because they know that he's available now, or have inquired about him, should I say. If a bid around that 50 million mark comes through, then yeah, I think you'd be stupid to wait around and see if he does develop better next season. But I don't know. I'm loath to write him off because he's so young. And as I say, the last few games it looks like he's been doing something different, and it was working. So he scored against Portugal. I know they got dumped out in the return leg, but he scored against Portugal. It looks all right again. I don't know.
No.
What about Mainu and Garnacho?
Maybe Garnacho is the one that maybe changed my mind. For the question, because if you asked me 3-4 months ago, I would have said just if you can sell him, sell him. I still think if we get like a stupid offer from Chelsea, for example, like I would sell him. But
what's a stupid offer in your mind?
Like 80 million plus.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
That's a stupid.
I'll take it. That's pure profit.
Exactly. Yeah. So Yeah, that's the only reason I tell him, not because like he's not good. Because yeah, I've always liked Garnacho, academy player that plays a role into it, and also on the right he looks good. Honestly,
Yeah,
he looks way better than on the left. And he tries. What I like about Garnacho is he keeps on trying.
yeah,
Even when the team is down, even when he's not doing well, he never gets his head never drops. So he keeps on trying. Right foot, left foot. He's starting to create chances as well. He's fast and he's very young, so he has a lot of potential. Like, and yeah, honestly, if you don't get a stupid offer, then yeah, if for example Napoli come in with 50 million, you'd be stupid to
hmm,
accept it. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, Garnacho is one of those players that changed my mind.
I think it's difficult to kind of talk about the other player that I mentioned there, Mainu, because he hasn't played in such a long time. So you could either lean either way with this. You could either remember him with rose tinted glasses and be like, oh, absolutely not, can't sell him, no way, because he's amazing. Or you could look at it like his last few games that he did play for Manchester United, not really getting into the game and, failing to really excel. So you could fall on either side of the fence with it. You could be like, he's got to go, or you could be on the side of like, absolutely not. So the one thing with either of those two is it has to be one or the other. I don't think I could handle both of those players leaving. I think that'd be awful.
Even for Kobe, like for Kobe, yeah, I'm on the fence, or like I'm on the side of no way he leaves. That's my opinion because yeah, a lot of people seem to forget how good he is, because of how his form has been this season. But this is to be expected. Like it is a thing, like second season syndrome, especially
Yeah,
for a kid that age. And he's had a lot of injuries, and he didn't get any rest. He played most of the season for us last year, and then he went with England in the summer, and he played almost every game in the Euros. And he's
yeah.
still he's still really young, so yeah, no, he's one of those talents that are very difficult to find. So yeah, I wouldn't sell him even for like 100 million.
There's two players that we're talking that we've missed out, but I don't think they deserve any more than a line to talk about. But Mason Mount and Luke Shaw, as I've said previously, if you've got any ambitions to win anything, you can't have injury-prone players like that in your squad. And if there was a chance to move either of those boys on during this summer, I think Manchester United should definitely snap it up.
100%. I agree, and I think like the club are actively trying that.
Yeah, I think so as well. So let's move on to the incomings then. One of them that I think everyone thought was going to be nailed on to becoming or joining in the summer was Quenda from Sporting. And, well, Chelsea have signed him and one of his really exciting teammates at Sporting. And they're going to be loaned back to the club next season. So I'm sure Manchester United would not have accepted that at all. But is there, again, a naivety or just a lack of cutting edge with Manchester United when it comes to negotiations? Because can you remember the last time we signed someone ahead of a transfer window?
No, honestly, like I was thinking that this the other day as well. Like, why does it always seem that other clubs get deals done and they also announce them before the summer, and we never
Yeah,
do that? I don't get why. Like, yeah, so yeah, mm, yeah. With Gwenda, I don't know. Like, he's young, so he might be one of those that they look exciting and then they fade away. I think he
yeah,
faded away a bit with Sporting this season, ever since Amram left. Uh, and like you said, I don't think the United would have accepted
yeah,
loaning him back. And also, I read, I don't know how true it is, that Kwenda didn't want to come to United because he knew he's going to be played as the right wing back, and at Chelsea he's going to play as the winger. So that was part of the reason why he chose Chelsea as well. So yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, you can. I don't know how much to believe that type of situation, but let's take it as fact, right? Let's say that he did say that. Chelsea don't stick with managers, and they buy players every other week. So what's to say that what you're talking about right now, in that he's going to play on the wing and not play at right wing back at Manchester United, what's to say that that situation doesn't change because the manager gets fired and then a new one comes in with a different philosophy that wants to utilise him in a different position? That's a huge gamble if you're going to do something like that. And what's to say that Chelsea don't go ahead and buy two really exciting wingers this season, including one Jadon Sancho? Let me say he's one of the most exciting English wingers ever to grace the pitch.
Yeah, for
If you're
sure.
listening, Todd Bowley, that's
Honestly, like
imagine being Jadon Sancho and knowing that neither club, the one you're at and the one you came from, want you anymore. Imagine that.
yeah, he brought this on himself. Honestly, he's with his attitude, with the things that he says. Like it seems like he's always quiet on social media, but when he does post something or say something, it always seems to
Mm.
be something like bad. I don't know why. Like
Incendiary, yeah, yeah,
yeah, like I don't know why he likes like I don't know, like attracting hate upon himself. He doesn't help himself, and with the performances that he's been having for Chelsea, he had a good patch when he first went there. Like he had 3 assists in 3 games, and everyone thought like, okay, he. So the issue was United, and then everyone saw him for what he is. Like he doesn't work hard. Like at least that's how it looks. I don't know what he does, and he's so dramatic. His ego is I don't know where he gets it from, and for what. And yeah, for example, when Rashford got his move to Aston Villa and like he commented on his post like freedom, like what
yeah,
are you doing? Like for what? What you're still employed by Manchester United. It's not like
yeah.
you're done. I don't
And
care
have
what
you?
happens with him.
It's. I mean, if you believe in such things as fate or karma, that he has been in the limelight for all the wrong reasons since he tweeted that freedom thing or posted that under his Instagram post, whatever it was. Since he mentioned freedom, everyone has been gazing at him, going, right, what are you doing? And his form has dipped, and now Chelsea want to buy out their obligation to buy, which I, I don't think I don't think it's unprecedented in clubs getting out of obligations to buy, just saying that we don't want to do it or they don't finish where they should in the league. But I think a club actively saying he's hit all of the marks that we wanted him to, but we just don't want him, and we'll pay you 5 million so we don't have to have him. I think that speaks huge volumes, and I would say that situation in itself is unprecedented because I can't think of anyone that's ever had that happen to them.
Yeah, why would you spend 25 million on a player like that? You would spend 5 million and just like yeah, get rid. Like it's United's problem now. Why should we deal with it?
Exactly.
Like there's no reason for them to put themselves through that headache. And I don't know what's gonna happen because if he comes back to United, I don't see how any club would buy him, or make a good offer for him because they've seen like at United he's not been doing well. At Chelsea he's not been doing well. I don't think Dortmund can afford his wages like those clubs. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen, and I really hope we get rid of him like any way possible.
He'll be in the Saudi league before you know it, mate. Um, okay, so we've talked about outgoings, talked a little bit about incomings, talked about Sancho. Are there players that you can see that are going to be high on United's radar this season? Is there a particular player or a particular position that you think that we definitely have to strengthen?
I think yeah, like striker for sure. 100%. I think that's the number one priority. But I
Who
also
would you
think
buy?
the
Who would you buy as a striker? Sorry.
for me it's Osman. Like I've always said, Osman is the one for me. Um, in terms of being realistic, in terms of availability, and like price wise, wages, all these things, and like experience, age group as well. Like everything, he fits the bill. And even like for the system that Ruben Amorim plays, Osman like fits it really well. So like it makes sense, the most sense for me. Uh, so yeah, I really hope we go through that. I don't know. Do you have anyone else in mind?
I do think we need a veteran striker or someone that's slightly older than what we've currently got for two reasons. Obviously, to help the strikers that are there right now and give them a bit of the the dark arts on how to actually get in the right positions for goals, what to do in certain circumstances and scenarios. So I think Osimhen does fit that. I think age wise, again, another positive of that is that you don't block Chido Obi's progression into the first team because Chido Obi, arguably, he's probably not going to be a first team starter for at least another couple of years. And what you want is that player, whoever comes in to do the striking position now, if we do keep Hoyland or if we sell Hoyland and bring in Liam Delap, if you bring in someone else that is older, then you don't really block that pathway. You get the best out of them at the peak of their career. They move on, and then you have that natural progression. Delap should be, you know, doing brilliantly in the league by that point, or Hoyland is doing brilliant in the league, and then you've got Chido Obi that's fighting it out for those positions.
I agree. I agree 100%. Uh, yeah, I
What
hope.
about defence?
Uh, Defense, I think we need like a left-footed center back and a right-footed center
Branth-
back. Like I think we need two center backs, honestly.
Branthwaite? Branthwaite?
Yeah, yeah. I hope so. Honestly, I really hope so. He's perfect for the system. He knows the league. Physically, he's immense. On the ball, he's really good. Uh, in the air, he's amazing. So like he fits everything as well. And like Ineos tried getting him last season, so I think the contacts have been there and they're still there between the player and the club. So yeah, I think Brentwaite makes a lot of sense. And yeah, seeing also like Lissandro keeps getting injured, so you need someone to like lock in that left center back role. Aiden Heaven has been doing well. Uh, his injury, like thankfully, doesn't seem as bad as we thought. Um, so yeah, like it's exactly what you were saying. Like you need someone that is for now and also not to block the youngsters' progression. So I think if Brentwaite, you rotate him with Heaven, uh, I think it's perfect. So yeah, it would make sense as well.
I think De Ligt has kind of galvanised his place in the team, maybe as the starting centre back in that back three. I think he's a good natural successor to Maguire. And call me crazy, but I can see a scenario where Maguire is used as a make weight to try and get Branthwaite in. I think that could be a way to try and bring him in and sweeten the deal for Everton. So they get an experienced centre back who still has aspirations to play for England and will play regularly at Everton, depending on where they finish in the league, obviously. And then Branthwaite comes the other way. I'm sure if any Everton fans are listening to this, they'd be like, absolutely not. No chance of we swapping Maguire for Branthwaite. But these are the financial constraints that both clubs are under. Making a weird kind of exchange plus cash might be best for both worlds to try and just keep each team stable. But I can see that happening. I wouldn't bet any money on it, but I could see that happening. And then you would have Delit centre, you'd have Yoro on the right, and then Branthwaite on the left. I think that's a solid centre back pairing. No, trio. I think I'd go for that. I'd go for that.
Yeah, like you have everything in there, like pace, power, height, on the ball. All three of them are good. And then you would go for the wing backs. Honestly, like we were talking about the outgoings. I didn't want to mention it then, but like now
He's not.
I
He's not
have
going,
to.
mate. He's not going. He's
He
staying.
has
Your
to.
favourite
He
player.
has to go. He has to go. He
Your
has to go. Honestly.
Diogo Davo. I'm going to say it right now. I'm saying it. I'm going to anger you. I'm going to boil your blood, mate. Diogo Davo is an ideal squad player for Manchester United. An
But he's not a squad
ideal.
player.
I know. I know. That's what I'm saying. We need to upgrade on him. We need to upgrade on him. But I'm telling you now, he's a great squad player because he never gets injured. He'll always give you a 6 out of 10 game,
5 out of
which
10 maybe.
I mean, he scored the other day. You must have been cheering that.
No, not really.
Fair enough.
I
Fair
was like,
enough.
no way he scored. Like, because I was slagging him off all game, like
Yeah.
on the groups and stuff. Because one of my friends, like, he's one of his biggest supporters. Is like, I don't know how you slag him off. I don't know how you criticize him. I'm like, I'm sure you don't watch the game because there's no way you watch him for 90 minutes and think he's good. There's no way. Like, and then he scored, so I was like, okay, no, I didn't want that.
He made you eat your words. But if he scores every week, then I'd be happy to, I'm sure you would be happy to eat your words every week if he got an
Yeah,
assist or a goal
100%.
every other game.
Yeah, I'm not
But
that kind like that. It's more important for me to prove my point. But like, it's of course I would want him to do well. But yeah, honestly, like he's been there way too long, and he's not showing me that he's improving. So that's my issue.
I think he's a fantastic player off the bench. I don't think he should be starting for Manchester United, but I
No,
do
I
think he
agree.
would be better off the bench. So I can't see him going. So we've gone from the strikers. I think Osimhen is the one that we both want, and then Delap second. Would you say Delap maybe a second, or is there another one? I don't
Mm,
want Gyökeres. I don't. I
yeah,
don't fancy him.
yeah, me
I don't
neither.
know what it is.
It's just because of the league he's playing in. To be honest, like it's not reliable.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
I'm
And
sure there
I,
was
and I
someone
think
else.
there was who was the other person that we were talking about? There was Sesko, Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah, Sasko I'd like honestly. Yeah, Sasko I'd like. But like again,
Okay,
he's the same issue as like he's not that proven. But this season he scored a lot of goals, and yeah, I can see he has it. So personally, Sasko I wouldn't mind. But like Osimhen still is my number one.
okay. So we've done striker. We're probably going to need to get a goalkeeper, whether Onana wants to or not, because Bayendir is probably going to leave. Which would be good, healthy competition between the two of them to try and up their game, both of them playing for Manchester United. We've done centre backs, we've done kind of wing backs. I guess we move on to the wings. Oh, no, actually, Jeremy Boateng. Is it Boateng? Frimpong. I always get them two mixed up.
Frimpong, yeah. Yeah.
Frimpong. Do you think he's going to end up at Madrid? Or do you think there's an outside chance that we could get him?
I think it's tough because he has a release clause, yeah, like 40 million, and I don't know. I feel like he's going to Madrid or Bayern. It's one of those deals that they're just too good, and yeah, we never seem to be able to pull off those deals. So yeah, I think he's destined for one of those clubs. But if not, yeah, I'd like him at United.
And then moving a little bit further up the field, then with wingers, is there anyone that you've got your eye on that you would
Yeah,
like? Do we need another signing?
yeah, 100%. So like basically number 10s, yeah, like in the number 10 roles,
Yeah, yeah.
we have to get like a superstar there. That's what I think. Like we have to get someone. Personally, for me, it would be Konya. If you can, like,
Okay.
I don't know, make it
Yeah.
make a deal for that. Like I think he has a release clause or something, like 60 or 70 million. I would pay that without even thinking twice. He's perfect for that role. Premier League proven again, uh, insane amount of like potential and ability. He can score goals in every kind of way, and he works really, really, really hard. Like that's what I love about him. Like he works really hard.
Do you know who he kind of reminds me of? And this is probably an unfair and crazy comparison, but he kind of reminds me in that talisman role, bit fiery as well. Got a few tricks, but robust and ready to go. Bit like Eric. A bit like
You can't
Eric,
tell him.
mate. Mm. Just in the way that he puts himself about, and the
Yeah,
way that he kind of grabs the game by the scruff of its neck, and obviously, he's not averse to getting a headbutt and a red card every now and again. There's something Cantona esque about Cunha that I really like.
that would be like that's the biggest compliment you can give him, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, and it might be one that I get ridiculed for, but I'm putting it out there, mate. I'm saying it. He can't come back in now. What about the young lad from Leon, Ryan Cherky?
I don't know. Not convinced. I feel like he's potentially, like with potential wise and like ability, he's amazing. He's unbelievable. But I just can't help but feel like there's a reason why no one's paying that release clause for him, because it's been there for like a few seasons, and
Yeah.
he's young, and it's a very cheap release clause. It's like 20 or 30 million, something like that. Nothing crazy, but no one's paying it. So I don't know what the reason for that is. Could be his attitude, could be his like work ethic, could be something like that. Because he reminds me of Ben Arfa, to be honest. That's the
Mm.
closest comparison. Like he's unreal on the ball. Like he can do magic literally, but yeah, like you can't guarantee that he's gonna do that consistently throughout the whole season. So yeah, and we don't need that, honestly. So yeah, he's not one of those that I would like. Maybe you take a risk on him, but still not unless like there's no other option.
Well, speaking of taking risks, and we'll stay in the League One as well. How about Angel Gomez and Jonathan David? Because they're going to be both available on a free transfer at the end of this season.
Jonathan David, it would be a really good, smart deal, in my opinion, because he's a proven goal scorer. He's been doing it for years. Yeah, okay, it's League One, but like also in the Champions League, he scores a lot, and on a free, like, and he's young, so there's no reason not to take the chance. Angel Gomez, not for me. I don't think he has the physicality to deal with the Premier League, to be honest. Unfortunately, although I really like him. I really liked him when he was coming through the academy as well, but yeah, I just don't think he's cut out for the Premier League.
Would we have said that about Ahmad a few seasons ago?
I don't know. Maybe I still say that about Ahmad, to be honest. I still feel like he needs to I don't know, bulk up or something. But Ahmad is very tenacious. That's what makes up for that. He's very tenacious. He's very aggressive. So he makes up for the lack of physicality in that sense. But Angel Gomez, especially that Ahmad plays on like the wing, Angel Gomez would be playing in center mid. So that's a huge difference for me. Like in center midfield, you need bodies, especially like in the system Amram plays. You need someone who goes up and down and wins every duel he goes into. Angel Gomez, I don't think he's that kind. Like if you wanna get Angel Gomez, just keep Ericsson. It's basically the same because technically they're amazing on the ball, but yeah, like they lack in other stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Would you get
Before
him?
we
Would
move
you?
on, I would. I mean, it'd be sentimental, wouldn't it, to bring him back?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's worked out terribly well with Ronaldo or Pogba. I'm not saying that Angel Gomez is someone that thinks that he's the bee's knees, but those didn't work out, and I'm kind of loath to try and do that again. But I do think in that making up the squad numbers an option from the bench could be decent. Is he standing in the way of anyone that's currently there? Probably not. So I think he could be a good option. I don't know enough about Jonathan David to be able to pass any kind of judgment on him at all. I just know that he's prolific or has been, and we've been linked to him numerous times, and he's free, which you can't really say no to. I know you kind of balance that out with the wages and how much you pay the agent, but I don't look at any of that. I'm not paying his salary every month. But before we do move on to the next section, we've missed out a huge gaping hole in midfield, mate. So we haven't put anyone else there. We've got Mainu, we've got Bruno, who's been sitting further back in recent games, and we've got Ugarte. Do you put anyone else in there?
Yeah, for sure. Like we need two or three midfielders. I like Hjomland, um,
Mm-hmm.
the guy from Sporting, the Danish
Yeah,
player.
yeah,
I've seen him at Sporting when like I was watching games before Amram came, and I watched him for Denmark in the Euros. He was impressive. I think he scored against England.
yeah, he did, yeah.
And yeah, and like yeah, when I watched him again, like I watched both legs of the game of Denmark versus Portugal, and yeah, he's good. Like I can see why clubs are after him. I don't think he would be that expensive. I think he's young, and yeah, Amram knows him, so yeah, I think
Yeah.
he would be a very good option.
I think we need someone like Decore in midfield. I think we need like a destroyer. I think we've got the technical like little Jack Russells that can run around and get hold of the ball in Ugarte and Bruno. We've got the finesse style midfielder that can link up the defence to attack. But we are missing, and we have done for the longest of times, we're missing that enforcer in midfield that can stride through defences. I'm not saying Decore is that, but physically he is, the type of that prototype of player that we need in those positions, because more often than not we get bullied in those positions. And there's another player that we're talking about for striking, Mateta. When he waltzed through the United defence back at our lowest ebb, it was purely to do with his size and strength why he was able to do things like that. It's so direct. We need that in a midfielder at Manchester United. We need someone that strikes fear when they line up across the way from a midfielder. We need it like a strapping physical specimen that is covering ground and is able to just break through midfields at will. So I would say someone like Decore, he might leave at the end of the season, who knows? Or someone like, what's the other lad called at Aston Villa? Has he been playing a lot? Oh, Onana, of
Onana.
course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has he been playing a lot for Villa?
Yeah, he's been playing, but like I think he's been injured for the past few games.
Okay. Okay.
On that, like I'm on the other side of it. I think we need a midfielder that controls games. To be honest, I think that's what we like, because we only have Bruno that does that. And if Bruno is like not on it, or like if he's not available or something, we don't have anyone else who can do that. Like who can, like just control the tempo of the game, slow it down. Kobe can do that, but I don't know, this season not that much. Other than that, I don't think we have anyone who does that. So Ericsson is perfect for that. But yeah, he's done. He's way past it. But if you it's very difficult to find someone like that. But if you do, then I think we also really, really need that.
Okay, looking forward to Tuesday then, when Manchester United take on Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. This is the type of fixture that maybe a few years ago would have been an easy 3 points, but now, well, it's anything but, because Forest seem to have our number and they're doing brilliantly in the league this season, obviously battling for the top 4 positions. One thing I can say to you, since we had that little break, is that Amrim has confirmed that Lenny Yoro, Maguire, Mainu and Dorgu are all available for the Nottingham Forest game, which obviously hands us a boost in having all those defenders back in the team, and Kobe as well, having them back in the team. But how do you see this one playing out? They might be without Chris Wood, their top scorer this season. But how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I think we have a chance, honestly. Yeah, they've been doing really, really well all season. They're battling for Champions League, so I'm sure they're going to be up for it. They're always a tough team to play at their place. And the only thing that gives me hope is that I think we do better away than we do at home, especially when the odds are against us. And we've been, like you said, in a better patch of form lately. So yeah, players coming back.
This feels like more of a measuring stick of a opponent, where if we can get a result and we do beat them at their ground, it will show how far the team has come, or it will show that they are getting what Amram is trying to program into them. I think that's more than anything, and probably every game up until the end of the season now, because we're not going to get relegated. There's 3 other teams that are worse than Manchester United in that league. Every game now is going to be about performance. It's going to be about what we can get out of it moving into the next game. It doesn't matter about, I don't think it matters as much about losing or going out on your shield, so to speak, and losing the game, or like losing 3-2 if you played well, or drawing 1-1 if you played well. I don't think that's the issue anymore with the points. I think it's more about, right, okay, are they getting it? Who's playing for their position? Who's going to be here next season? And is Amarin the person to implement that style to do it? So I think the pressure's kind of off, apart from the Europa League.
I agree. I agree. Like you said, I think we should use those league games for momentum and confidence. Um, so I think it's important that we don't let off in any game. And yeah, again, it is a measuring stick to better gauge how well we've been, so
Yeah.
how much progress we've made. Um,
And I think that's what Amarim will be looking at as well. He's probably told the players this. There is a certain degree of the pressure is off because we're not going to make top 10. We're not going to make the Champions League places. That's for sure. Everything is down to the Europa League. This game, though, is important to show that you can still compete with teams that are higher up the table, that are competing for Champions League places, regardless of the name and where they've been in the past 3, 4, 5 seasons. Nottingham Forest are in the Champions League places, and they beat Man City recently as well, who obviously are the current champions. That's getting a performance there is by all means the only thing that we need out of this. And I would take a draw if you ask me now.
yeah, me too. Honestly, me too. Because all I'm thinking about now is the Europa League. So, and the two games we have before Lyon are Nottingham, and then we have City at home. So if you like do well in those two games and take that form and confidence into the Lyon game, that's all you need. And yeah, we need those games as well to build up fitness for the players that are coming back from injuries. Um, so yeah, like if Maguire comes back, if we can get Kobe back into his rhythm, Luke Shaw and Mason Mount hopefully
Yeah.
are back. So we need everyone. We need everyone for the Europa League run because yeah, the league is over. There's no point. Um, our only hope is the Europa League, and we have a really good chance of winning it because if you look at the teams around us as well, there's no one that stands out as the like prime favorite for it. I think it's us and maybe Bilbao. So yeah, so let's see.
Could be good. Could be good. What score are you going to say for the Forest game then?
I'm gonna say 2-1 United.
Oof, it's gone big. I was going to say
Uh,
2-all. I think it's going to be a 2-all game, but I think it'll be another good performance from the team. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. And then
because
we can take that in.
Forest have the tendency to like just collapse. We've seen it. It happened to them like not long ago. I think they lost 4-1 or
But
something.
yeah,
Uh,
obviously I should have these things to hand, but I'm just going to have a little look at Forest now. Their past few games, so they drew 1-all. So they beat Ipswich 4-2. They beat City 1-0. Obviously, they drew with Ipswich 1-all. They drew with Arsenal 0-0, and they got beat by current Carabao Cup champions Newcastle 4-3 away
yeah,
as
right,
well.
yeah.
So it's been patchy. It's been
Hmm.
patchy. They did beat City, but then everyone's beating them at the moment. So
Exactly.
you can't really measure that, can you?
Yeah, and like you said, I think Chris Wood is a doubt because he got injured playing for New Zealand.
Yes.
So yeah, if he's out, then that's a major blow for them. So yeah, I think we have a chance. Like they're good, but I think we can do it. It's not that tough in my opinion.
Are there any players that you would put in your FPL side from Manchester United this game?
Bruno, but I activated my assistant manager chip, so I
Oh,
brought in Amram.
interesting. I
Yeah,
still don't know. I still don't really know how that works. I keep thinking FPL has got too complicated for my brain. So
yeah,
I'll probably just, as I usually do, leave them to the last 3 games of the season and then try and use them each week. But yeah, if I was going to choose someone, it would probably be Bruno. He's on fire at the moment, and it looks like he's going to be assisting and scoring goals for the rest of the term. So yeah, he'd be my pick as well. But you're going 2-1. I'm going 2-2. Let's see what happens on Tuesday. Thanks for joining us again on Fergie's Gun podcast. We are glad to be back in your ears. Sorry for the delay, and we shall try and make sure that it's not as long next time, mate. What do you reckon? Can we manage it?
Yeah. No, I think Ramadan as well had a role to play in it, so I think it's almost over. Should be fine.
Ramadan's over. My business stuff calms down. I'm not co-hosting. I didn't tell you about that. I was co-hosting on the radio the other day, talking about all things sport and being laughed at by my Leeds United supporting other co-host. So yeah. Anyway, life will not get in the way anymore. Hopefully, we can get back regularly with these podcasts, and we'll speak to you again next week.